Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I have no idea where in the world that you're at. I'm just excited that you are here. We are honored. We are just so fortunate to have you that are watching that are on with us today. It is one of my favorite things to do in life is to do this show. We are in somewhere close to 300 episodes now. And so we're having just a really good time putting together what it means to live boldly with purpose. And, so many unique folks from all around the world that we get to talk to. Zeev is no, I guess, stranger to being not only unique, but just has a great story to tell and has some things that we're going to talk about today that I know will make a difference. Probably not only in your life, but maybe in the people that you talk to, that you are around, that that you would say, hey, you got to go listen to this podcast. Now, of course, if this is your first podcast that you watched with us, I would say wait to the end. And if it's something that you like, go ahead and hit the subscribe and notification then if you have the opportunity to do so, because it's just such a fun one to do. People tell me sometimes we're in the top education podcast that are in there, the top 1%. We do this on video and we do it on the audio stream. So whether it's on Apple or Spotify or, we want to make sure that we get it out there because folks have a purpose in life. Folks want to get to take what they're doing, figure out how to do it, and then how to do it better. One of the questions that I'm going to ask you even in a few minutes is I'm going to ask you, so I'm going to give you a chance to think about it a little bit. Is it possible to live boldly in purpose and not serve others? And so I'll let you think about that for a minute. We'll come back to it. But first, I want to know about who you are and about, maybe a little bit about where you grew up. Or I already know because we already have had a conversation before. But I don't think our audience knows. And it's such a unique perspective on life from from going back and forth and not just always being in the U.S. And so I can't wait to hear your story. And then we're going to chop it up after that. We're going to get to some unique questions about our lives and what we're doing and how we're making an impact in the world. So thank you for being on. Thank you for taking your time out of today. You could be doing so much other things today, and you're here with me. And we're going to talk. And so go ahead and I'm going to give the floor to you. Start your story, and then we're going to chop it up after that.
So first of all, thank you for allowing me the stage. Nice to see everybody. Hopefully I'll provide some value and inspire you. And my name is Zeev Wexler. I was born in Jerusalem, Israel, many years ago. I'm just kidding. But I was born to a wonderful family. I have two older sisters and a younger brother. So I was the third and first boy. I grew up to immigrant parents. My parents both immigrated to Israel prior to me being born. So it was a very interesting dynamic for parents that work really, really hard, that immigrated to a new country and really built an amazing life for themselves, for my family. And both my parents are a huge inspiration. They both had, very different but pretty tough childhoods and growing up, especially my mom. And they managed to really give us so much love, so much attention. And it's so obvious that all of us are born with our own soul, because I have three siblings and we're all so different to one another, yet we receive the exact same upbringing and love from our parents. So grew up in Jerusalem, Israel, spent my childhood and youth in the Jerusalem area, learned a lot, knew all about Jerusalem, but didn't know how important that was. When you're a child and you're born somewhere, you don't realize how incredible the place that you're born at. And then in my very early 20s, I moved for a job opportunity to the United States. First to California, extremely interesting move and transition. You see California on the movies, you think Beverly Hills, you think LA, but then you see that LA is a whole country. It's vast. There's places that are incredible. There's places that make you miss Israel at times. And the one thing I saw, and this was in the beginning of the 2000s, is the immense opportunity that this amazing country provides. And I'm a proud American. I'm extremely proud of and happy of what this country gave to me. And I saw so much more opportunities than I did see in Israel. Now, I was an entrepreneur in Israel too. I was in the nightclub business. I was in the selling sports gear business. But when I got to the US, I saw that everything is just so much bigger, so much more opportunities. And my first stint in the US, I was doing a lot of sales and business development. And I loved it. And I loved people. And I loved talking to people. And I felt like my goal was to help people get what they want. And if I do enough of that, I will get everything that I wanted. And if you remember, Brian, that was a good time in the economy. That was a blessed time. And I made a good amount of money. I was growing. I felt like, wow, I got this. I'm so great. I'm so good. I started some companies. I went from business development to the managing finances world, to the financial world, did great things, and really thought that I got this. I was really, sure that I have everything ready. And then 2007 and 8 hit. And to those of you who don't know, it was a huge financial catastrophe here in the US. And my financial business did not crash, but suffered dearly. And that was my first downfall. After feeling like I'm riding the horse and everything is great and wonderful, to actually saying, wow, what's going to happen next? Do I need to take a loan? How do I make sure that all my clients are okay? But something really interesting is when you learn to ride a horse and then you ride the horse pretty well and you fall from the horse, you realize that you just gotta get up, deal with the pain, deal with the injuries, and go back on the horse because you already know how to ride that horse. So during that time, I basically grew. I learned a lot about myself, and I, for the first time in my life, started working for other people, not myself, not entrepreneurial. I helped some companies grow. I did a really great job. And then in the beginning of the 2010, I decided to make a big shift in my life. I saw the internet is impacting everything. I saw the beginning signs of like the smartphones. And I decided that I'm going to take everything I know about business development, negotiation, how humans act, and I will actually make it into marketing. So I started my marketing agency, which I still own, and it's doing incredible work for a lot of companies and a lot of people. And I helped people utilize this new thing back then, this worldwide web and social media, and how to really get going there. Worked really hard, was raising my family. And then in 2018, I was exposed to machine learning. And that blew my mind, completely blew my mind. And doctor, when I saw that, I knew that our world is going to change in a massive way. And from that point on, I've developed and dedicated my life into understanding artificial intelligence and helping others, especially businesses, with artificial intelligence. So I've been through three careers, if you will, in my life. There was business development, there was marketing, and now there's artificial intelligence. And my goal is to help break complicated concepts to people in a way that they can use it and better their lives. And with artificial intelligence, I call it, the internet times the smartphone squared. It's going to change everybody's life. Some of us realize it, some of us don't. But my job, or what goes through my veins, is to go and educate about artificial intelligence, about the changes it's going to make. Some are good, some are bad, but you can't put your head in the sand. You need to understand that everything is changing, And what I do is I help businesses with how to understand the change, how to understand what they need in their business, and then how to implement it forward. And really lately, I'm really excited. I started a club called the AI Master Club, where we really help companies that can't afford to hire us, and rebuild their infrastructure, really understand and learn themselves what they need to do about artificial intelligence. Family is the most important thing in the world. I have three incredible kids. I have a wife who's 100% my better half. I've grown so much in life and in the world, and this is something I'll share with the audience. I feel like the first 40 years in life are just tuition. They're just learning. And all you do in that first 40 years is literally just learning. And then after that is kind of where you understand and where you also start removing things that you've learned but are not really correct and true. So I am very excited for this part of my life. I lead a very healthy lifestyle. I believe in fasting, eating clean. I believe in grounding. I practice breath work every morning. I do a few mile, 3-4 mile walk with my wife every morning at 6 a.m. I'm trying to grow because I believe you're either growing or dying. There's no in between. So you're either blossoming or you're withering. So I want to blossom. I believe that everything that happens to you in life doesn't happen to you, happens for you, even if it's painful, even if it's rough. And if you believe that, it's much easier to deal with everything that happens. And as long as you try to do the best for others and to contribute to society, contribute to your fellow men, and I also believe we're all one in a way, we're all connected. All of us, whether you like it or not. And most of the time, when you find someone that you really don't like, there's something in them you don't like about yourself. So I've studied history. I'm talking about ancient history. I'm an avid fan of the 7 Hermetic laws. If anybody doesn't know them, I'd love to share them with you maybe later on. But I believe that everything starts with you. And in order to change anything in the outside world, you need to first change yourself. And if you don't like anything in the outside world, look inside, see what you don't like about yourself. And if you don't believe you have dark spots, if you don't believe you have shadow in you, that makes you very dangerous. You need to understand that we're all flawed, but love those things, be aware of them, and just try to be better every day. And not better than somebody else, better than who you were yesterday. And the last thought I'll leave you guys is something I think about every day. I want to please 2 people in life. And those people are not my parents, my kids, or my wife. Those people are the young me, young 7-year-old Zev, and future me when, in many, many years, and I want to live till I'm 120, but in many, many years, when I am old and looking back at my life, I want those 2 people to be happy. And if I succeed in that mission, I think I've succeeded in life.
Wow, there's so much in your story that I want to impact, and I'm trying to figure out where do I start because it's such a cool journey, and you've said some things that I'm just really intrigued about. I guess let me just go back to Israel, and you said that your parents immigrated to Israel, and the land in which Israel has been around for forever, right? It is probably one of the most talked about put pieces of land ever in the history of the world, before and now. And so, but it wasn't, I guess, until the 50s when it was actually recognized as a country, right? Were your parents during that time when they came in, or was it a little bit after, or what was their reasoning for saying, and where did they come from? Like, where did they decide to go to Israel from? I'd love to kind of know some of that.
Both my parents are from the former Soviet Union, not Russia, but the former Soviet Union. So my mother is from Lithuania originally.
Okay.
And both my grandparents, especially my grandpa, sat in Soviet prisons for 18 years because of what he believes. And my grandma was exiled to Siberia. My mom grew up as an orphan. So they fought to come to Israel. And in the 60s, They finally managed to leave everything behind. They couldn't take anything with them, like literally just come to Israel. And that was in the 60s. My dad grew up in Azerbaijan, which is on the other side of the former Soviet Union, is more some other republic that they conquered. He came from a completely different background, but he was always wanted to go to the country of the Jews. He always wanted to help. So he found his way in the really early 70s. He found his way to Israel, and they both met in Israel. And then, of course, they, got married, had, the four of us. But both of them came from idealistic, believing that Jewish people need to be in their own land, protected. My mom had probably a much rougher go at it, but my dad did not have an easy childhood either, and they both came and built an amazing life. Both became diplomats. My mom afterwards became a teacher in order to stay closer hours to us, and my father just had an amazing career as a diplomat and also a politician at some point. But just very inspiring to see them going into a completely new country, a language that my mom maybe knew a little bit, my dad knew nothing of, and learning and growing and becoming really incredible pillars of the community, and just incredible people.
Wow. And so that so speaks to your identity and who you are based on where they, not only where they came from, but their just desire to build and to grow and to be somewhere else, where whether they came there knowing that they would have you and you guys would be, the pillars of their life, but they came there for something better. And it's so cool. And I guess what the next part of Israel that I struggle to picture in my mind is nightclubs. Like nightclubs in Israel, those two things kind of don't go together, as far as what, we hear in the stories and all that. But I'm sure it's it's just like any other place where it's a thriving economy and everything
So Israel is a rough country. There's a lot of things going on. So Israelis live hard and they party hard. Now, this is a completely far apart from where I am today. But Israel has some of the best nightlife ever, and I've traveled the world extensively. So when you're talking about nightclubs and parties, there is incredible nightlife in Israel. I will, I hope nobody takes offense, but I think it's better than the US. It's really a whole industry. And again, people go through a lot of things in Israel, so they really like to release and to party. So there is an incredible, vibrant nightlife in Israel, incredible clubs, DJs, music, live shows, just an incredible scene. Again, it's something that is so far from me now, but back in the day, it was something that, was really, really close to my heart.
Yeah, that would really, if you would really throw me if you said, yeah, hanging out the nightclubs every night now. That would have really, so we're good now. But we think about
I don't remember when's the last time I was in that club.
Exactly. But I think about now taking Israel and the geographical area that is Israel, and then just like saying you picked it up and put it into LA, then it's a part of LA, right? I mean, that's like how small that geographic area is, but with some incredible things happening. And so you just went from this small, world where lots of people were packed in to this like, oh my gosh, this is like the biggest. It almost feels like you went to outer space or something, because it just probably seems so vast in the area. And so I'd love to kind of you just maybe talk a little bit as we're talking about identity, the identity of who you were and your parents, and you're in Israel and they're successful, and then you move out to the US. And what had to change in your mindset or change in who you were to be able to, I guess, navigate this whole new country that it's got to be way different, especially in the vastness of California and all those different pieces?
I'll be very honest, not much had to change in my personality. I just needed to understand the culture and understand how things move. Israel is an incredible place, but a very hard place to live in. I truly think if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. It's easier to live in the US. There is so much. I'll give you an analogy, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but in Israel, it's like a freeway that has no line. So everybody's like intertwining with everything and everybody, and you got to keep your eyes closed and your eyes open, sorry, and really make sure everything is, if not, you're going to hit something. In the US, California, other places, I think the US is about 5 different countries, but we can get to that later.
Yeah.
But everybody stays in their lane. Okay. So it's a lot easier to maintain a life here. Now, if you want to prosper and grow, yes, it's a lot of hard work, but it's a lot more organized. Everybody's in their lane. I'll give you a funny, story that blew my mind. In Israel, if you're a poker player, then you're a gambler. In the US, if you're a poker player, you're on TV and you're making, millions of dollars. In Israel, if you're a skateboarder, that means that you haven't grown up. In the US, if you're a skateboarder, you can be Tony Hawk. So everything in the US, if you do really well, has a market. You can grow into everything. It wasn't like that in Israel. In Israel, it was much, much, much harder to create something of yourself. Like, you'll never find a famous skateboarder in Israel. It will not happen. So everything here is on a different magnitude. And if you do well, if you really excel, you can have literally anything that you want. And if you build your reputation correctly, you can charge so much for your time. You can help so many people. It can grow. In Israel, it's much, much tougher than that. It's still doable, and many people do it, and I believe I could have done it there too. But there's the magnitude here is so much bigger. It's just there's so much more to do, more markets, more people, more interest, more capital, more everything.
And do you think, and I think of, the culture of the folks that are from Israel, that not the stereotypical culture, but just the drive that the folks that there have. And then you come here and you implant yourself with the, whatever the American dream is, or the drive to be able to succeed, to be able to move forward, to be able to conquer and do well in business. And then you see a whole bunch of people that are U.S. born or that don't have the drive, that are, they're just existing, whatever comes. Did that kind of clash sometimes with, or are you just like, hey, these are my customers because they're not going to do anything but consume, and I don't have to teach them, but I'll sure take some of the money because it's there for the taking. How did you bounce back and forth with, or did you just stay in circles that allowed you to excel without, I'm not necessarily thinking that you alienated folks, but there had to be some of that where you're just like, what are you doing? Like you're just doing nothing with your life. Why?
So in my high school yearbook in Israel, they said that I'm the most likely to be a millionaire because I was, even in Israel, I was driven, an entrepreneur. I was doing things that were, the kids in my, my age were not really doing. But when I got to the US, you're right. I was like, wow, everybody's so comfortable with like just not doing anything. Everybody is, and I tried at first to motivate some people, and some of them I succeeded and some of them I didn't. And then I realized, to each his own. Not everybody wants to strive to be somebody, business, money. Some people just want to go to the beach every day. And that is their happiness. That is their peacefulness. Somebody just wants to work as minimum as they can in order to pay their bills and then just be at the beach, which I'm okay with. Not everybody. And also, if everybody was this ambitious, it's going to be a hard world to live in. It's going to be a hard world to make any money in. So Everybody has their own piece of heaven. Everybody aspires for different things. Everybody has aspirations. Just not all of them has to be with building something or with business. If you just want to be the best mom in the world, that's beautiful, and I'm okay with that. If you just want to, whatever it is you want to do, I'm okay and I'm good with it. It took me a long time to understand that some people just don't want to grow, and that's okay. But I also understand that you're either growing or you're dying. So I still try to say, even if it's a little bit, but you got to try and grow, you got to try and learn. And US is such an incredible country, and we are so lucky. And I think a lot of us that never got out of this country don't realize how lucky we are. And if problems don't, if you don't encounter problems, problems will find you later. If you don't find ways to, deal with things, then things are going to find you in a later time. And that's something I believe in. I believe in a lot of the, sometimes drug problems or addiction problems. That's because those particular people, and not everybody, but sometimes it's just they didn't have real problems, so they had to create some problems for themselves because problems are a part of this world. But in the end of the day, I know what I want. I know what makes me tick. I know what excites me. And I think God, which I'm a God-fearing man, God-believing man, not really God-fearing man. That's what he has a plan for me. And if I don't do that, I am not doing my part here. And if he gave me all these gifts and all this love and all these talents, if I don't use it, I am not doing my part. I'm betraying that faith that was put in me. So if I'm gifted and I am talented, I need to put that to work for other people.
I love that you're saying you know what you want, you know where to go, and I think we're so blessed in this country. I was just talking to my wife the other day. I can walk to a refrigerator and push a cup underneath it, and water comes out that I can reach in and put some ice and water comes out, right? And I can have this nice, cool drink. And you think about the rest of the world, like you try to find some ice, and they're like, "What? Why would I put ice in my drink?" That type of stuff. And then I think one of the things that I've noticed, because you talked about being 40 years old in the learning center, and so I'm now in my 60s, and so I 100% understand what you're saying, and I think that like we find a way in our country a lot to celebrate somebody else being successful. Like we watch all these athletes and we act as if we live our lives through their success, or we find actors, or we find people that and I don't think there's anything wrong with entertainment and having entertainment, but when it becomes who our identity is and who we are, like I'm wearing another man's jersey on my back, that has his name on my back, and I know everything about his life, but I might not know anything about like what my kids are doing next weekend or what those folks are doing. And so as you're in business and you have a business that is designed to help others, do you find sometimes you got to really, I guess, hone in on the folks that are not in that world of just celebrating everybody else's success because they kind of feel like they got everything because somebody else succeeded? And then now or do you help folks kind of come out of that as the awakening happens after 40, I guess, when they realize, wait a minute, I just spent my whole life, celebrating all these different things. And now what do I have? How are you helping people through some of those times as in business? I want to start a business, but yeah.
We're not competing with anybody else. We're competing with ourselves.
I love
okay?
it. Yeah.
There is enough wealth, enough abundance, enough everything for everybody. I'm in the AI business. Seems like it's a bandwagon. Everybody is in the AI business right now. Do I get mad? I was like, oh, they don't even know about AI. Like this guy worked for me as a photographer 2 years ago, and now he's an AI expert. No, there is room for everybody. And in the end of the day, in business, you grow if you give value. And I believe in the world in general, if you give value, you get value. First, you got to give. So if you know how to give value, Just give value. If you're just thinking about your own thing, in the end of the day, you're going to be a bitter person and unhappy. I'd rather have less and be happy. And again, I'd rather have more and be happy. But peace and happiness are important. I don't want to just, let me protect this dollar so this guy won't get it. I want all of the people in my life to be successful. I believe there's enough success for everybody. I truly do. I believe this incredible land has so much. We are so blessed. And this is, I'll tell you two things. Back in my business development career, I had a big team of business developers, and we were doing all kinds of things. And we used to have a thing that my team, if they didn't reach their quota by noon or something, they used to call me and say, hey, Zev, I haven't been able to sell anything today. And I was like, why? Oh, nobody's stopping for me. Nobody's listening to me. Nobody's, paying attention to me. And I used to tell them, okay, so forget about selling. Nobody's stopping for you. Let's say I give you now $10,000. I'll give you $10,000 if in the next hour you manage to stop 5 people. Are you going to be able to do it? Oh yeah, absolutely. How? Oh, I'll find a way. I'll figure it out. I'll make it happen. So it's all about perspective and the stories that you tell to yourself. So, that's one. The other thing is, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think you need to earn to be the top 3% of earners on our planet?
If you are making $200,000 a year, you're in the top 3%.
So it's $33,000.
No.
Yes,
No.
worldwide it is $33,000.
I can see.
So anybody who's listening right now who's making more than $33,000, you are in the top 3%. If you're making more than $100,000, you're in the top 1% of the planet. So be happy with what you have. You just talked about running water. We just heard about Europe having a heat wave. They don't have AC. That's Europe. That's the successful part of our world. So think about how lucky you are to have an education. We're speaking right now with technology and laptops and microphones and backgrounds and living in beautiful houses and driving beautiful cars. We are lucky. And my wife doesn't like when I say lucky, she likes blessed. But we are so blessed. We are so lucky. Everybody, if you think about the things that you're grateful for, there are so many. And if you read the Bible, King David wrote Psalms. And King David had a practice, which I really try to do myself. And I'm trying harder every day. But before you ask anything of the world, of God, before you start your day, find 100 things that you're grateful for, 100 things to say thank you for. And when you start that practice, it's not hard. You're grateful for your family, for the roof you have. You're grateful. There is a Hebrew prayer that you pray to God every morning that you wake up. Thank you for returning the soul to this body. Thank you for another day. Thank you for the water, the food, the children, the time, the health. There's so much to thank for our friends. So much to thank for the sunrise, for the beautiful view that we get to see every morning, for being able to walk, for being able to do the things we want to do. There are so many things to be grateful. And when you are grateful, then everything else is so much easier. And find what to be grateful for. Don't find what to complain about. Okay? It doesn't help. It just makes everything worse. If we're grateful, we'll graduate to more. If we're not, then we're just going to attract more into our lives of things we don't want. So gratefulness is a big, big thing in life. Be grateful. Sometimes I used to, back in the day, I ran our agency in DC, and everybody worked in the same building. And at lunch, we used to basically stop everything, and everybody would come to one huge conference room and we'd have lunch together. And we've had, interns and people coming in and out, and love people, love the education, but we did like a non-denominational blessing. We had every kind of religion on earth, and people, atheistic people. So we used to say a blessing, and at the end of the blessing, I used to say, and please, God, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, continue giving me challenges. And I remember a young guy came to me after. He's like, why the heck did you ask for challenges? And I was like, that's the only way we grow. Challenges become blessings. If you want to grow, you got to have a challenge. You're going to learn how to grow from it. So everything, you can't just have a blissful life without any worries or challenges, but understand that the challenges don't happen to you. They happen for you to grow.
For you to grow. Absolutely. All work works, right? Whether it's working on you or working for you, that work that you put in works. I do a devotional every morning that I do online, and I do it live. And this year today was 237 straight days of doing this devotion. And one of the things that I talk about often is intention. And the intentions that we have for the day. And I have 7 of them. I tell people that 8, 9, and 10 are theirs to come up with. But the first one is I get up every morning and I make a promise to myself. I honor my commitments, even when nobody else is watching. I make it, I say it, I write it down, I do it before I go to bed. And then I say I need to make a meaningful connection every day. There's somebody that I can, I believe that we are answers to prayer. Somebody else is praying. God puts us in a place where we can be answered to prayer. So I say, I make a meaningful connection. I choose people over distractions. I'm 100% present. My eyes are up. My phone is down. I'm listening with 2 ears and with one eye, and then my mouth is slow to speak. I say, I want to make space for stillness and clarity, slowing down long enough to hear what matters most and be still and listen. And then, like what you said, I try to lead with gratitude. I choose to notice what is good, powerful, and present in my life that's already working in my life. I stop 3 times every day to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I try to act with purpose where I do not drift through my day. I try to choose it intentionally, and then reflect on it at night so I can repeat it the next day. The last 2 are really cool that I think. I try to leave people better than I find them. I try to encourage and uplift and serve whenever possible and add value and speak life and lift people up. And then the last one is I try to do is I just trust God with what I can't control. Release what is not mine to carry and then focus on what is mine to steward. And if I can do those things every single day, the rest of all the noise that's in our planet and in our world just kind of goes away, right? It's like you just said, Zeev, which is so cool, is how blessed I can be. And then if I can wake up every day and then that is my intention throughout the day, what else really matters? If I can achieve those things and serve people in that way. One of the things that you said that I want to come kind of back to, because I think it's so important to truly talk about health in our world, because I think especially probably here more than in any other places where we have access to healthy food. We have access, and I know America, there's some places where everybody doesn't have as much access, but I think we don't eat right. We don't exercise right. You talked about breath work earlier. Maybe even talk a little bit about what breath work is. I think it's a big term that we use right now, and I try to do it in my morning talk. But what does that mean when you say I do breath work? We all know what walking is. We all know what we should be putting in our bellies, but the oxygen and stuff is just as important, right?
Absolutely. So this is something that I've done religiously for the past 2-3 years, and it's incredible and amazing. So I practice a method that I learned from a really, really cool guy called Wim Hof. He's known as the Iceman. He's done crazy things. So what I do every morning, and I try every evening, but every morning it's like a non-negotiable for me, is I hyperventilate for 40 times. Like really take as much air as I can and take it out. And then after 40 times, where I exhale, I actually hold my breath. Hold my breath for as much as I can. It's going to sound, maybe nuts to some people, but I can hold my breath for close to 3 minutes after doing that. It didn't start that way. Now, what happens physiologically when you do that, first of all, it clears your mind in ways like you almost disconnect from this plane. Second, it releases so many incredible things because you stress your body out. There's no oxygen. So all kinds of great things like stem cells and growth hormones and so many great things happen in your body. So I do that for 4 rounds. Okay. It takes me 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I do 40, deep breath, like really hyperventilate, get as much oxygen as I can, and then hold my breath. Now I do it gradually. Like when I wake up, the first hold of breath is like 1.5 minutes. The second is 2. The third is 2.5, and then the fourth one is as much as I can, which is usually close to 3 minutes. And I am so peaceful after that. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter who pissed me off, what I just got, it doesn't matter. I am peaceful. It is like the best natural high you can have. If anybody wants, look up Wim Hof. He has all kinds of things, but I do the 4 rounds every morning. I started with 3 and I start with holding my breath for less, but now it's literally such a peaceful place to be, and you connect with yourself, you connect with your quiet. I enjoy doing that every morning. If something big happens or something bad happens, I will take the time and I will go and do breath work and come back to center. We don't breathe right. I try to do a lot of other breath connected thing, but think about what breath is. Breath is really consciousness, because if you stop breathing, you lose consciousness, right? So there is such magic in breathing correctly and breathing deeply and engaging everything. And oxygen is the most important thing for us. It's more important than anything else. We cannot survive without it. So I try to really, intentionally, like you said, breathe intentionally. And starting my mornings, that way, I sit down and I close my eyes and I just, I do that. And again, it's so great for your psyche, for your body, for your mental state. And I love it. It's something, if I were to go back to 15-year-old Zeev and I will say, all right, no matter what, do these things. Fasting would be one. Like, sometimes I fast for a week. My mom thinks I'm crazy, okay? But you got to give your body a break. It's something that you actually get smarter, sharper. And for men, testosterone spikes when you fast. And if you think about our evolution, we didn't eat 3 meals a day. We ate when we had food. And if we didn't have food, that usually meant that we needed to hunt. So that usually means your muscles are better. I can do more pull-ups after 3 days of fasting that I can do, on a day that I'm eating. So fasting is one, breath work is the other, and the third one is grounding and trying to look at the sun and sunrise and sunset. Before I would give him, the young Zeev, business advice and tell him to buy Bitcoin when it came out and all that stuff, those are the 3 things that I would tell him, that if 15-year-old Zeev practiced those, I don't know where I would be today, but those are the 3 main things. Like if I would go back in time right now and meet him, I would tell him fast, breath work, ground, and look at the sun. The sun is a good thing. Now, you're talking about nutrition. Yes, we're lucky in this country that we have great things, but we're also unlucky that we are pushed horrible things. Okay, I've traveled the world and I've ate all over. I can go to Italy and grab a pizza in a gas station and I'll feel fine. Have me grab a pizza here, I'll feel bloated, disgusting, So there's a lot of things that in our, very commercial society that are horrible. So I try to stay away from bread at all. Sugar, processed sugar, I try to stay away with. I try to focus on fruits, vegetables, and protein. And again, I try to buy, organic. But if I don't buy organic, then I wash my fruit with baking soda to get all that pesticide away. It really works. It removes a lot of it. I try to get, I eat a lot of eggs. People used to tell you get cholesterol. I eat 8 eggs sometimes in a day. It's amazing for you, but those eggs needs to be pasture raised and eating the right things. If you eat meat, you got to figure out, what that cow ate, because you're eating what that cow ate. So there's another thing. I won't get too deep into this, but I also believe that what you eat is what you are. So if you're eating animals that are, very domiciled and very lazy, that's what you're eating. But go eat a bison steak, and you're getting something a little bit different, So it's a belief that I have that whatever you put inside you, you become. The same thing is your mind. Whatever you think, you become. But it's very important for me to keep to eat the right things. I do work out, but I'm very busy. I don't have time to go to the gym. I have a pull-up device right behind my office. I try to do stretchings and push-up every morning. I walk with my wife for a few miles, but I don't have time to go spend hours in the gym. So I try to do what I can, but I also try to eat right, eat clean, and it's not easy at times.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. It's so important because when our bodies are healthy, our mind can be healthy. We can go out and conquer the world. And when our bodies are not, then it's terrible. One of I have one more question for you, and then I'll let you kind of talk about some of the things you wanted to talk about. But you talked earlier about the 3 people that you want to impress. You talked about little Zev and future Zev, and that you wanted to impress them. How do you impress, and how well are you doing at impressing young Zev? Like, how do you go back and you say he would be proud of me, or I mean, what does that mean to impress young Zev?
This is a very interesting question, and I'll be vulnerable now. I believe that a lot of us build our personalities to stay as far away from our young versions that we can. I know that was the case for me when I was in my 20s, 30s. I viewed that child that was sensitive and that was maybe a little bit even feminine and very caring and very empathic. Uh, he got in trouble for that. He got beat up for that, all kinds of things. So the personality of the man, the strong guy, the warrior was not really me. It was built to stay away from that child. And as I grow up, I really try to connect to that inner child of me, because that's a lot more the pure me than the personality I grew. And I want to know that he is proud of me, not just by my achievements, not just of the money I have in my bank account, not by the accolades, by how I lead my life every day, the growth that I've made. And sometimes I even ask myself, if 5 years ago Zev would look at your life right now, how would you feel? And I know that he would be proud. Okay, he might want even more, but I know he would be proud. So that child will be proud. Now we make mistakes in life, and I've made my share of mistakes. Definitely, but it's how you deal with those mistakes and how you move forward. So the older Zev, I really hope that in that time I would look back in life and said, you gave it your all, you learned, you helped, you left people better, and that's what I try to do. So those two, my child and my older man, those are the people that I want to feel that they feel no regrets over the life that I'm leading today, even though I know we only have the present. It's only one moment. Everything that matters is right now.
Gotcha. Well, and I can imagine that you want to, the person that you are now, you want to, when you think of future Zev, you want to give him the opportunities to live this incredible life. And part of that opportunity is a healthy body, right? You want to help him make sure that he gets to live in this really good way, that he's set up where he doesn't have to worry, he doesn't have to think, he doesn't have to do some of the things that you had to do in your first 40 years or whatever it is, or 20 to 50, that he can say, wow, this is really cool. And because I did, and I worked this hard, and I did all these things, and I took care of myself, this is the legacy that we, all 3 of us, all 3 Zevs, get to leave. which I think is super cool. Would love to know just, I try to make sure that if there's something that we didn't talk about, that we didn't weave in the story. I was super selfish. I asked the questions that I wanted to know so I could be a better person, because I think of it like this: as success leaves clues, I want to get every clue I possibly can from you, because this is what has made you successful and the person that you are. And so I've so enjoyed our time together. But what do you want to make sure that our audience gets to know, that they hear, that they can take with them, that is from your perspective?
So one thing I want everybody to take away is it's always darkest before the sun comes out. Mm-hmm. So just understand that wherever you are, whatever's going on, there is another chance, there's another day, the sun will come out. And also another thing, that God, the universe source, doesn't give you challenges you cannot handle. So if the challenge came to you, that means you're strong enough to handle it. So that's something I want everybody to take out of it, because I have hard days. I have tough stuff. Bad things happen. But again, they happen for you in order for you to grow. The other thing I want to talk about is more business-wise.
Okay, please.
AI is changing the world. You need to understand AI. The life we're going to have in 5 years is going to be the most different time we've had ever. Everything is going to change. The children that we have now, they're going to have a completely different future than we do. Artificial intelligence is like the gunpowder of knowledge work. It's going to change everything. I believe the world is changing so fast, people don't even understand it. Mm-hmm. And AI is massive. So whether you're just a person, whether you're a family, understand AI, learn AI, because AI is not going anywhere. AI, I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just not going anywhere. You need to understand it. And if you're a business, you really need to learn AI. And what I do for a living today, and what I'm really proud of, is I travel the world educating people about how artificial intelligence will affect their business. I give very distinct audits of AI readiness, and then I help companies move to the next stage. If you are a business and you're not considering artificial intelligence, not fear tactic, and if you know anything about me, that's not how I roll, but you will lose. Artificial intelligence is not a if or a why, it's a how. All of us need to do it. And if you need help with that, I'd be honored to help, whether it's directly with your business, or you can join our AI Master Club, which is an amazing community we built for business leaders, for people that want to understand AI in business. And we'd love to have you join us in the AI Master Club. You can go to aimasterclub.com. And we would love to help you. AI is changing the future rapidly, and you need to understand, you need to learn, unless you're going to stay behind.
Yeah, no, it's when we think about AI and we think about what it is giving and providing for us, it's not, I don't want to say it's scary, because, there's a whole lot of things in life that can seem to be scary, but it is different. And so whenever a technology has entered our world in the last 2,000 years, right, we've had to adapt. And there's going to be the early adapters who take it by the horns and make it work. There's going to be the people who kind of figure out how to use it. And then there's going to be people that fall behind and lose maybe their livelihoods or lose some of the things that they do. I just think this shift is so fast that there's going to be more of that group who is losing out because they're just not paying attention. They're so comfortable in their life and their world and the things that the other technologies have been able to provide for us, that we just don't know how to deal with this. I mean, we truly don't know. Or there's folks like you say, well, I don't want AI to take my job. Well, AI is not going to take your job. It's the person who knows how to use AI that's going to take your job. That's who's going to, that they're the ones who are going to make it and adapt to this world. I even think our politics and everything are going to change. The
everything.
Things that we rely on, our senators and our lawmakers and that kind of stuff, those aren't going to be the people who are making the rules anymore and the laws. I mean,
I don't know if they are now, but yeah, no, they're not going to be the ones in the future. But AI is changing everything. It's by far the biggest change that in both our lifetimes we are going to overtake. And this is something, if you have kids, if you have grandkids, if you have nieces and nephews, don't fear AI and just hide from it. AI is coming, whether you fear it or not. Figure out a way how to use it to your advantage. Understand how to make AI an advantage and not a disadvantage. And you're right, the 80-20 rule is working on everything. So unfortunately, 80% of people, AI is going to be a disadvantage for them. Become the 20% that AI is a huge advantage for. And dive into AI, learn AI. And AI works in two different ways, and I see it all over. AI can either make you dumber, pardon my French, or smarter. Most people use AI. I do this in my speeches all the time. I tell people we all have a Ferrari right now, but most of you guys are using Ferraris to deliver pizzas. That is not the right use case, but if you have a Ferrari, go win a race, okay? Go do something valuable because all of us have a Ferrari right now at our fingertips. Even free tools are incredible. And it's going, I follow AI every day. The advancement in the last 3 months has been like the last 10 years. Okay, and it will just get faster. So you got to understand how to utilize AI to become smarter, how to use AI to think better, how to use AI to be more of yourself. Don't give yourself out to AI because AI has no concept of who you are, what you are, but use AI to grow. Personally, and what I do and what I help people, which every business needs, is see how AI helps you in business. And AI doesn't mean buying tools. I tell this to my clients all the time. If you don't know how to do something and you give it to AI, you're going to fail. But if you really know how to do something and you give it to AI, now you make it 10x.
You make it 10x, yeah. So cool. Zeev, how do people get a hold of you if they want to learn more about this AI and want to learn to figure out how to do it? How do they get a hold of you?
So Zeev Wexler on LinkedIn is a great way to reach out to me. Okay. AImasterclub.com is a great way to reach out to me. Right now, we're on a waiting list, so just fill out your name and we'll reach out to you to get you into the AI Master Club community, AImasterclub.com. So those are the best two ways. If you Google me, you'll easily find me. I have ZeevWexler.com, WexlerMarketing.com, Viacry.com, all companies that are part of what I do. But you can find me on social media, especially on LinkedIn. And I really recommend you check out the AI Master Club. There's incredible information there.
Oh, thank you. Well, Zeev, it has been a privilege. It has been so cool to have you on today. I can't wait to do it again. I think we can even just do a show just on AI and just come back and talk about all the different things and the ways that you should, maybe the top things you should do or know about AI right now. I would love to do that show with you where we really dive into what folks should be aware of it and where it may affect their lives. So thank you again. It has been a pleasure of fun. Give us one final thought as we leave, and we will enjoy our time, rest of our day together.
Thank you so much for having me. Everybody, be grateful for what you have. That's how you grow and get more things. And, love one another. Understand we're all one. The more we give, the more we get.
All right. Well, thank you. If you haven't subscribed, notification told you it was going to be a great show, and it turned out to be exactly that. Go ahead, like I said, to do the things you do. Don't forget your God's greatest gift. He loves you if you allow him to. Yes, let him wrap his arms around you and love you. That's all I want to say. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you on the next one.